to The Fitterist Show with your host, Christopher Allen, where we explore the art of mind and body conditioning. While there is no rules handbook handed out when one joins a gym, there are expected norms of behavior within a gym environment. As such, most of these are unwritten rules that unfortunately not enough people know. Again, while common sense should dictate most of these behaviors, like being a good person, picking up after yourself, and being conscientious of others, things your mom probably told you, there is unfortunately the need to get into more detail and provide more clarification with regard to gym behavior. Thus, today we have our top 14 rules of gym etiquette, things that you should adhere to for your benefit as part of the community of the gym and your fellow gym members. In the shared space of a gym, you really don't want to be that guy who annoys everyone else in the gym. So let's dive in. So first, what is gym etiquette? It's a range of associated expectations and really an often unwritten set of rules that one should abide by to ingratiate yourself into the gym and into the workout community. This etiquette is not just for beginners. It's not just for newbies. It's not just for experienced lifters, but for everyone. Everyone who works out in a shared space on shared equipment with other people, regardless of the size of the gym. Now, I'm fortunate to train at Gold's Gym in Venice, California, the mecca of bodybuilding, which is much, much better with regard to etiquette, mostly due to the caliber and seriousness of the athletes that train there. But make no mistake, no gym is free from people who violate the seemingly basic rules around cleanliness, hygiene, common courtesy, and respect. So we'll get into more specifics, but the general guidelines at a super high level are be aware of where you are, your surroundings, the equipment around you, other people around you, and treat others as you would like to be treated. It's kind of the golden rule thing, right? It can do wonders for yourself and others inside and outside the gym. All right, so here we go. Top 14 rules of gym etiquette. Rule number 1, understand the rules at the gym you're actually training at. Now, these can range from whether you are permitted to use chalk to playing loud music, even though most everyone has headphones. Some people take their phone and play music without them, which I don't really understand, to grunting, to slamming weights. Just know what is expected of members. A lot of times, too, they will have rules around photography, videography, who can, when you can and cannot videotape professionally. Number 2, if you sweat on the equipment, wipe it off. These sounds basic, I know. Most gyms have either a disinfectant spray to ensure that the surface of the equipment is cleaned, but you need to take it upon yourself to clean up after yourself. Believe me, it sucks having to wipe up some other sweaty gym person's sweat before you use a machine. Rule number 3, dress. I lump these together, dress and deodorant. So wear appropriate gym attire. Ensure that the clothes are clean. It sounds basic, I know. And on this note of personal hygiene, one should use deodorant in particular. This is my personal pet peeve, is BO. I would rather someone go overboard, which is also a big problem, but I personally would rather have somebody go overboard on the cologne perfume than have BO. I will literally leave the area, even in the middle of my workout, if there's someone with just bad BO. Well, I would hope that everyone would have a friend to tell them that they really smell bad. Apparently, that's not really the case for everyone. So keep any BO in check. Rule number 4, social media. Okay, this is a big one. So if you're going to spend 30 seconds doing crunches and then 8 minutes instant messaging and on Instagram, then get off the damn equipment and let someone else use it. Sounds simple, doesn't it? I see people sitting on machines and endlessly scrolling through Instagram, then switching over to instant messenger, texting other people. And look, I get resting for a minute or two between sets, but these people are on there for 8-10 minutes just scrolling and texting. And I also get making sure that you have the right song coming up for your next set during your workout. So you might want to go to your music app, check out Spotify, Napster, whatever, and cue up the right song. That doesn't take 8 minutes, doesn't take 10 minutes. It takes like 30 seconds to maybe a minute. Rule number 5, selfies. I called this one out. Some people might lump it with social media. I called it out on its own. And I personally don't have that much of an issue with this one. Again, I train at Gold's in Venice, and in the Mecca, there are a lot of professional bodybuilders, fitness influencers that actually make a living on their physique and on their Instagram and YouTube channels. So I get it. And again, being at Gold's Gym is a bit different given the clientele. That is, in my opinion, they're pretty efficient and respectful when they're taking selfies of themselves for later posts. But I suspect in some gyms this could be a larger issue. Another thing, too, is that people in Gold's Gym in Venice are generally in pretty damn good shape overall. So unless one is taking an inordinate amount of time on a machine that's preventing someone else from using it or working out on it, I'm generally okay with selfies in the gym. That's just my personal preference. A lot of people don't like it, but it's also part of life. Rule number 6, rack your weights. Another one that can run rampant in the gym. Like your mom told you, this stuff starts with basic childhood philosophies, I swear to God. Like your mom said, put stuff back where you found it. Seems simple enough, but for some reason, laziness kicks in after one does their final set, or they just try and justify themselves that, the next person that uses this piece of equipment will be doing at least that amount of weight. I'm not that strong. Someone will be doing this plus some. So why take it off when someone else is just going to load it back on? But reality, you have no idea who's going to use the equipment. And someone could get hurt trying to unload the weight that you loaded on, depending on their strength level, right? And this goes double for dumbbells. I see dumbbells strewn all over the gym in areas where I don't even know, like in the ab area, near cardio equipment. Re-rack your freaking dumbbells. A corollary item for those who might not know, as you take weights and put them on their appropriate racks, simple concept, the 5-pound plates go on the 5-pound peg with the other 5-pound plates. The 10-pound plates go with the other 10-pound plates. Guess what? The 25-pound plates go with the other 25-pound plates, and the 45s go with the 45s. You get the pattern. So that doesn't mean that the 45 pounds go on the rack where the 25 goes, or the 10s go where the 25 goes. It's kind of like a preschool shape-fitting toy with an age range of 4 to 6, but for some reason, it's amazing how many people cannot figure out this simple rule of storing when they're re-racking their weights. While we're on the subject of dumbbells, also, don't grab a pair of dumbbells and stand there doing your set immediately in front of the dumbbell rack, thereby preventing anyone else from using any of the dumbbells in that entire 6-foot area as you're swinging the dumbbells around doing whatever you're doing. All you need to do, take 2 or 3 steps back from the rack, do your set, thus allowing others to access to the other dumbbells that they might want to use. I know. It seems like common sense, but it happens. Rule number 7. This is a little bit more general of the previous rule, but generally don't block the mirror. Now, aside from the vanity of watching oneself in the mirror, people actually do monitor their form while performing exercises. They want to make sure that both dumbbells are at a consistent height, speed is consistent on both sides of their arms, and all of this is important, particularly when doing dumbbell exercises. So try and avoid walking in front of someone, intently exercising in front of the mirror if possible, or standing there, and at least be aware that someone behind you might be doing a set. Move out of the way. Pretty basic, I know. Rule number 8. Seems like a basic one again, but don't they all? Don't talk to others in the middle of their workout or their set. I kind of thought this one went without saying, but I still see it happening in the gym, so I added it to the list. Either wait until they're done with a set or catch them after they're done working out to just greet and catch up with somebody. Rule number 9, check to see if the equipment in the gym is actually available. And what I mean by that is that no one else is actually using it. As you approach a piece of equipment, you can just take note that someone might already be using that equipment. So if you see a towel draped over the bench, a weight belt, or maybe a notepad on the piece of equipment, these are often signs that someone is using that equipment. You can always ask people nearby if anybody's using the machine, but again, don't interrupt their set per the previous rule. Many times, someone might just have to go get a drink of water, maybe use the bathroom, but still other times they're standing around and chatting with somebody on the other side of the gym. So first check to see if anybody's using it. If they don't come back in a few minutes, you might want to jump in, but just be cognizant that someone else might come up and say, oh, I was on here, I just had to run over there and talk for 26 minutes to this other person. Rule number 10, nonverbal communication. This is an interesting one because there is an entire litany of hand signals, gestures that people use in the gym, since most people are all wearing headphones and no one can actually hear what the hell is going on. No one can hear anyone else speak. There is the pointing at a machine to inquire if anybody's using it, the thumbs up, thumbs down signal if you're good to go, the cutoff hand signal to indicate that they are now done with the equipment, the rolling hands gesture to inquire if you can work in on that machine. Some of these are obvious and you can pick up very quickly, or worst case, you confuse the other person, they take off their headphones and they can actually converse with you, and you can ask them the question that you want to ask them. That is, are you using the equipment, as an example. Rule number 11, working in. If you decide to work in with someone, just be conscious of the exercise and the weight that that person was using before asking to work in. So let's just say you're at 135 and they're benching 405, and they're nice enough to let you work in. Then there would be a lot of weight changing, and it may be best to just move to a different exercise before the bench press frees up. But if they do let you move in, help them, after you finish your set at 135, help them load the bar to 405 so they can do their set. It's just a matter of being conscientious. I usually ask how many more sets somebody has before inquiring about working in, and if you do work in with someone, just always help change the weights as a courtesy to the other person, and they'll likely do the same for you. On the topic of working in, I will mention rule number 12. Don't hog the equipment. There have been times when I've asked somebody how many more sets they have, and they'll respond with something like, I just got 11 more to go. Now, I'm all for high volume workouts, but this seems a bit excessive given there are obviously other people waiting to use the equipment. Introduce some variety into your workout and don't hog the equipment. A corollary to this one would be don't try and do a complex circuit training when the gym is crowded. It's bad enough to hog one piece of equipment, but you try to reserve a series of 5 to 6 machines scattered across the gym for your double giant set. When the gym is crowded, it just is annoying. Rule number 13, spotting. A spot is just assistance provided during a specific lift or exercise, usually involving heavier weight, where the person requesting the spot might struggle and need some help. There's nothing at all wrong with asking for a spot. It's a safety thing. So you should feel comfortable asking someone, preferably someone who looks strong enough to support the weight while still pushing you, for a spot. It's also a good idea to give your spotter some guidance like, hey, based on how strong I'm feeling in my last set, I should get 3 or 4 on my own. I'd like to get 5 or 6 total reps, so if we could force the last 2 and you could help me, that'd be great. So at least they know what to expect to really assist on the lifts and when you might need some assistance. Which brings us to rule number 14, cell phones. With essentially everyone using their cell phone in the gym, there are probably a couple of simple guidelines to follow. Now, listening to music, podcasts, audiobooks, all that stuff, it's all good, assuming you're using headphones and not blaring the music from your cell phone speakers. That's kind of annoying. Although one could take the counter argument and say, well, everyone else has headphones on. They can't hear the blaring music from these cheap cell phone speakers. I don't know. But if you get a phone call that lasts more than 30 seconds or 45 seconds, get up off the equipment you're using, walk to an area at either the periphery of the gym or outside the gym where you can have your conversation. No one likes loud and distracting conversations in the gym, and that goes for all the people singing out loud to the music with their headphones on. Most people are not singers for a reason. I'll just leave that there. And don't hang out on a piece of equipment scrolling through all of your social media feeds. Do that after the gym. We covered it earlier. It's worth mentioning again under the cell phone banner. Go outside if you need to get your immediate dopamine hit from your IG updates. Now, a few bonus tips I'll throw in here too. Don't fill up a gallon jug of water at the fountain, drinking fountain, if there's a line of people waiting to get a drink of water. And I know all these bonus tips sound like, yeah, but you got to spell them out. Another bonus tip, go easy on the cologne and perfume. You don't want BO. Again, personal preference, I'd rather they go overboard on the cologne versus the BO, but you don't want to go overboard one way or the other, really. No curls in the squat rack. Never interrupt someone during the middle of a set. If you're sick, stay, or if you need to work out at home. Stay at home or work out at home so you don't infect the entire gym population. This happens all the time at Gold's, where something just goes through the gym. It's not the most sanitary place, as you can imagine, because of all the sweat and physical contact with common areas, bars, dumbbells, etc. in the gym, and there's like 30 people out sick. It's a bummer. It's probably not necessary when you're in the gym to offer unsolicited advice. People will generally ask you if they want your opinion, and every body is different on what works for you, and what you think might be great might not work for someone else. And if you do feel the need like you have to say something, you might just want to couch it like, hey, I started doing this way, and I noticed a change in me. You might want to give it a shot, but if it doesn't work for you, no worries. Another tip, wear a towel in the bathroom. Just leave that one there. And give people appropriate space in the gym. So, in summary, gym etiquette can be a very, very simple thing. It's basically around a couple of high-level guiding principles of 1, awareness. Be aware of the people around you, the environment, your fellow gym goers. 2, be respectful of other people, the equipment, the gym environment. And 3, be cool. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Let them work in. Give and receive spots. Generally be helpful. Remember, everyone's trying to just improve themselves when they go to the gym and trying to drive to be a better person and a better version of themselves. While someone at the gym might think they're going to be the next Mr. Olympia, there's only 14 people out of 7.5 billion people on the planet that have been Mr. Olympia, so chances are pretty good that they're not going to be number 15. So the more we can collectively provide an environment that helps everyone that goes to the gym, the better off we're going to be.
Hasta la vista, baby.
With that, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to The Fitterist Show. You can follow us on Instagram at FitteristMindBody and on Twitter at FitteristMind. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to a friend or subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future episodes of The Fitterist Show. My name is Christopher Allen, and make it a magical day.